All right, well, shifting gears from Australia to your adopted home, Erik, India. What can we expect? What's the state of football generally in India, and what condition of the national team heading into another major tournament?
Yeah, well, they're in the best position they're ever going to be. I think they're as I said before, they're not allowing these OCI players, as they call them, to take part. So they never have done. So anyone who's born in India has to have the passport, and you have to be born in India. But they're trying to reverse that rule now that allows players who've got heritage from India to play because they're being left behind from other countries around them as well. Malaysia is one of those big countries that have done it for a while. Indonesia, Qatar. Um, and again, look at Australia. We've got so many players that are not born in the country, but yet are naturalised or have heritage, whatever. So in terms of the 2023, they had 14 or 15 games, won 10. But in terms of what they chose, in terms of opponents, they played Lebanon 3 times, Mongolia, Vanuatu, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, all the South Asian sides. They generally get past without any trouble. I think they had 10 wins out of 14, a couple of draws, and 1 or 2 losses. And those losses were when they mattered. They've lost, I think, to Qatar in the World Cup qualification and somebody else. In terms of the squad, I mean, they have a lot of injuries throughout the ISL, and it's the first season in India where we've actually stopped for the international breaks. Usually we travel and play all the way through, and the national team just parks up and goes and plays and comes back very quickly. This year, Igor Stimac, the coach, was a famous player for Croatia. He asked for a lot of time with the squad, and he got it in the middle part of the year when the off season was there. But he wanted 4 weeks with the team before this tournament had started. There was no way that he could get that amount of time with the players. And now he's come out publicly and said, well, don't expect to get any results in the Asian Cup. I've not had the time. So he's kind of bought himself a little bit of breathing space by playing that card. But in terms of the squad, they've lost a really important player in the back line, Anwar Ali, very good defender. Jeekson, he's another central defensive midfielder. So that spine that they've been playing with for quite a while is gone. They're still playing with Sunil Chetri. He's 40 in August, would you believe? 145 games, 93 goals. He'll be the top goal scorer at international level at the Asian Cup. So watch out for him. But I think they'll go there well prepared. They've got Trevor Sinclair, who's come on board as the set pieces coach and to work with the wing backs, I believe. And they played together in their West Ham days, or was it Aston Villa? I can't remember now. West Ham, I think it was. Yeah. And so the squad, in terms of the squad, I think they usually play a 4-2-3-1 formation. The one thing that will really stand out for you when you see them play, guys, is probably their height. They don't have a lot of height. Those 2 big players I mentioned were giants on the pitch, but you've got 2 holding midfielders that be 5'6". Sunil Chetri through the middle is 5'7". Lalinswala Changte, Nara Mahesh Singh, they're 5'7". So that front 5 are really quick, small players. At the back, they've only got a couple of tall lads. And the goalkeeper, Gurpreet Singh Sandhu, he's probably their best player in terms of. I'm sure he's going to be busy, so he might stand out a little bit.
I'll bring you in, Mike. We haven't heard from you yet this podcast. Erik kind of mentioned it there. Erik kind of mentioned it there, Igor Stimac, and his comments that he said around this Asian Cup. He effectively said that this Asian Cup doesn't matter for India, which I found remarkable comments for a coach to say. It was a month or 2 ago he said it, like so far out from the tournament, to say this competition doesn't matter at all to us. Their focus is effectively World Cup, Asian Cup qualifying. He's almost put a line through it. Is it disrespectful? Is he just getting his excuses in early? So, he's seen the writing on the wall. So he's just put the excuses out that, if and when they fail, he can be like, well, I told you so. I'm not too worried about this. What did you make of those comments when you saw them?
I was surprised when I saw them. But look, he's a man who is no stranger to controversy. He's not exactly he's not exactly the most media friendly in terms of he has a somewhat fractious relationship with the media, I think, and certainly when we've seen stories emerge about him supposedly consulting um, astrologists and all sorts before picking teams recently, it's certainly the media and are not doing a whole lot to further improve the relationship between themselves and him. So look, I suppose you really would have had to have been with him when he made the comment to be fully aware of the context of which that comment was made. But if it's taken at face value, certainly it's disrespectful towards the tournament, towards AFC, towards Asian Cup. Um, I would imagine uh, there's probably more to it. I would imagine he would probably take it back to a degree if he was given the opportunity. Although that said, he doesn't really strike me as the kind of guy who cares too much about what people think about him. He's got a job and he just cracks on with it. So me sitting here saying disrespectful or not, he's not going to give a damn. He's an interesting character. He's definitely a big personality. He's had a modicum of success with India. I watched them play during the qualifiers, funnily enough, because they were in the same group as Hong Kong, and I was watching a lot of those matches here in my little den whenever COVID was still playing its silly games with all of us, and they weren't particularly impressive, but they certainly did enough in that group, which also featured Afghanistan and Cambodia, to go through. They won all of their games. They beat Hong Kong 4-0 in the final qualifier to seal their place, although I think they might even have already been through by that point. But the 4-0 win flattered India, I thought, because I think Hong Kong went 1-0 down and then really went for it to try to get back into it and got sucker punched a couple of times. I'll be interested to see how they get on. I'll be interested to see, as Erik has pointed out, certainly a nation that is still relying on, as great a player as he is and as great an ambassador as he has been for Indian football, Sunil Chetri at 39 and change, really, he shouldn't be leading the line for the country anymore, I wouldn't have thought. I think it's reflective of the lack of development work that's been done, particularly in those attacking positions, that we see them coming to the tournament with a guy who's months away from being 40. Much as I love Sunil, he's a lovely fella and he's been a great player for India over the years, but you have to wonder about the succession planning in terms of the players, if that's still the case. But I'll be interested to see in terms of the impact that what's been going on in the league in India is now starting to have on the national team, and what impact that then has on the team at Asian level will be interesting, I think.